Hey, fellow heroes. Ever imagined DEKU with a protective streak for his sister? Dive into this video for a fresh take on sibling dynamics in the hero world. This story happens in a world where 80% of people have developed powers or quirks, giving rise to heroes who use their powers for good and villains who cause chaos with theirs. In a hospital in Muzatafu City, a green-haired woman is in the delivery room about to give birth. Nurse, come on, Miss Inko, one last push. Inko, I'm trying. Nurse, I know, just a little more. Minutes later, the first baby was born. Nurse, congratulations, miss, it's a very healthy boy holding a baby with black hair that fades to reddish at the tips and a strange mark on the forehead. Inko, phew. Nurse, handing the baby to another nurse to check for any problems. Let's go, miss, just one more push. After a few minutes, another little green-haired girl with freckles on her cheeks was born. After the babies were taken for checkups, Inko spoke up. Inko, miss, can I see my children? Nurse, of course, miss, I'll bring them to you in a moment. Going to get the babies. The nurse returned with the babies, handing them to Inko. Inko, why does my son have that mark on his forehead? She'd say, looking at the little boy with concern. Nurse, I was informed it seems to be a birthmark, nothing to worry about. Inko, okay, thanks. The nurse would only bow slightly before leaving the room. Then a tall man with green hair entered the room, looking serious but showing concern for his wife. Hisashi, Inko, how are you feeling, dear? He'd say, approaching his wife holding two little ones in her arms, giving her a kiss and picking up the babies. Hisashi, what shall we name them, dear? He'd say, looking at the babies with a serious face but a hint of affection. Inko, looking at the little green-haired girl Elizabeth. Elizabeth Midoriya. Then she'd turn to the little boy with black reddish hair Izuku. Izuku Midoriya. Hisashi would sit next to the bed and hand the babies back to Inko to lay them next to her on the bed and embrace them with all the love a mother can give. Inko would see how little Elizabeth would be smiling, feeling her mother's warmth, while little Izuku would be very calm. Time skip, 4 years later. During that time, Inko lovingly raised her children. Although her husband spent a lot of time at work, she never had problems with her children, and she never worried about money since her husband worked as a hero, doing well at his job. After all, he was ranked 14th. Surprise, surprise, Hisashi is a hero. Wink wink. Inko, kids, come down for breakfast. A small, energetic green-haired girl in an all-might costume ran down the stairs. Inko, Eli, you know you shouldn't run down the stairs. Elizabeth, sorry, Mom, won't do it again, she'd say, radiating energy and happiness as usual. Inko, just shaking her head with a smile. What can you do? In the second-floor room, precisely in the room of a black-haired boy, he was getting up from his bed and went to wash his face before going down to the kitchen. Inko, hello, good morning, my little one, she'd say, leaving a plate with breakfast for Izuku, who had sat down at a chair next to the table. Izuku would just smile without saying anything and then put on his usual expression. In the 4 years Izuku had, he had never spoken, only smiled or nodded when spoken to. His family thought he was deaf-mute and therefore assumed he didn't understand words, but when they took him to the doctor, he said there was no problem with his ears or throat. Elizabeth, Mom, today we're going to find out what our quirks are, right? Eli would say with her usual energy. Inko, that's right, my girl, eat well, and then take a bath to go to the doctor to find out what your quirk is. So Elizabeth and Izuku would have breakfast and take a shower before changing and going out with their mother to take them to the doctor to find out what the quirk of the little ones is. Or if they even have one. In the car while Inko drove, Eli was talking to Izuku. Although Izuku had never spoken, Eli found it very normal to tell her big brother, by seconds, everything, and she would never ignore him for that. Eli, Izuku, what do you think our quirks are? I hope mine is strong to be like All Might and save people without fear like him. Izuku, he'd just look at Eli with a smile. Do you want to be a hero, sister? Both Eli and Inko would be shocked to see Izuku speak for the first time and with such fluency. Inko and Eli would be very happy that Izuku spoke since they were afraid Izuku was deaf-mute. Eli, brother, why you just spoke? She'd say, surprised and happy for her brother. Izuku, I guess so. Inko parked in front of the hospital, and they proceeded to enter. Inko knocked on the doctor's door. Doctor, hello, how can I help you, miss? Inko, good afternoon, I'm Inko Midoriya, and I've come to see what quirks my children Izuku Midoriya and Elizabeth Midoriya have. Doctor, oh, I see, please come in and take a seat. Inko would just sit next to her children. Only Eli seemed excited and happy to find out what quirk she would have, while Izuku remained silent with his stoic face but with a faint smile. Doctor, well, Miss Midoriya, may I ask what your quirk and your husband's are? Inko, I can attract small objects, and my husband can breathe fire from his mouth. Doctor, okay, I'll just take a blood sample from the little ones to examine and find out what their quirks are. He'd say, proceeding to take a blood sample from each of the children. Inko saw that Eli was scared of the syringe, and tears came to her eyes when she felt the needle prick, but what surprised her a bit was that Izuku showed no expression or signs of pain. So the doctor left with both blood samples and took a few minutes. Eli, with tears in her eyes, did it hurt you, brother? Izuku, turning to Eli, no, it didn't hurt me? He'd say, relaxed. Eli, it hurt me a lot, she'd say with a pout. Then the doctor returned with the results. Doctor, well, miss, I have the results for the children, and I have two pieces of news, one good and one bad. The good news is that your son has a quirk, but it's strange because we don't know what it consists of or what it's called, he'd say, changing his gaze from Inko to Izuku, who was as calm as ever. Little one, could you activate your quirk and tell me what you see or how you feel? Izuku would just nod in response, saying that he can see his bones and muscles, as well as nerves, ligaments, and arteries, basically all that he'd say, pointing to a small poster of the human body system that the doctor had. Doctor, fascinating, he'd say, jotting everything down in a notebook. Is there anything else, little one? Izuku, I also feel calm, stronger, and I see everything slower. Doctor, okay, thank you for explaining, and since this ability is the first of its kind, what will you call it? Izuku, he'd pause to think, transparent world. Eli, wow, she'd say with admiration for her brother. Inko, well, doctor, what's the bad news? She'd say nervously and fearfully, anticipating what they would say. Doctor, the bad news is that your daughter Elizabeth doesn't have a quirk, I'm sorry. Upon hearing that, the three family members would be in complete silence out of shock. Even Izuku widened his eyes in concern, but Eli was the most affected by the news. Inko, it's okay, doctor, thank you for everything, bowing before leaving. On the way back home, Eli didn't say a word, she was just shedding tears silently. When they arrived home, Eli rushed into her room and locked herself in. Izuku just looked at his mom, who was crying, thinking it was her fault that their daughter didn't have a quirk. Izuku, mom tugging at his mom's sleeve to get her attention, it's not your fault, none of this is your fault, so please don't cry. Inko felt better hearing her son's words and stopped crying, but she was still afraid of how her husband would react since he had changed over the years due to not being recognized as the top heroes. While Inko sat on a chair next to the table, Izuku would go upstairs to check on his sister. He knocked on the door several times, but no one answered, so he opened it, and the first thing he saw was Eli sitting in front of her room's computer, watching an old video of All Might saving many people with a smile. Izuku, Eli, he'd say, getting his younger sister's attention. Eli could only turn the chair she was sitting in, showing that she was crying with a smile, pointing to the computer. Eli, sniff B, big B brother sniff D, do you think I can be a heroine? Izuku, with a serious but relaxed face, no. Upon hearing this, Eli would lower her head, but before doing anything else, she would feel a hand petting her head and turn to see it was her brother, who would say to her, Izuku, you'll be better than him, he'd say, pointing to the computer. The road won't be easy, but if you strive, you'll achieve whatever you set out to do. Remember these words. Do not lose, do not hesitate, and if one day you find yourself defeated by your weakness, just ignite your heart in flames and keep moving forward, only you can forge your destiny. Eli would be surprised and motivated by these words, changing her tears of sadness to tears of happiness, and would hug her brother. Eli, was sniff T, thank you, big brother, you're the best big brother in the world. After Izuku managed to calm Eli, footsteps approached the room, followed by shouts. Inko, no, Hisashi, don't hurt her. You know she's not to blame. She sounded desperate and scared. There was a loud thud, and then the sound of someone, or rather something, hitting the floor. Then footsteps approached Eli's door, revealing her father, who was clearly not happy. Hisashi, well, look who's here, he said, holding a cane and closing the door. Izuku, I heard you have a pretty strong quirk. I'm proud, son. If I train you, I might finally have a shot at surpassing Endeavor and even All Might, he said with a smile that was anything but friendly. Then he pointed at Eli. But you, he said, addressing her, you're a disgrace. A useless one without a quirk. Someone like you can't be my daughter. Hisashi advanced towards Eli, attempting to strike her with the cane, but she had vanished. He looked around and saw Izuku, with a cut on his cheek, carrying Eli like a princess and gently placing her on the ground. Izuku turned to his father with a cold voice and gaze. Izuku, enough, father. What you're doing isn't right. Leave Eli alone. I'll do what you ask, but I only ask that you leave her out of this and don't harm her or mom. Hisashi stared at Izuku for a moment before responding. Fine. As long as you meet my expectations, I'll keep my word. Your training will start tomorrow at 6 a.m. sharp, every day. Don't you dare be late. With that, Hisashi left the room and headed to the house's gym. Eli, why did you do that, brother? Now because of me, you'll have to train with Dad. Izuku, none of this is your fault, Eli. Don't blame yourself. Besides, it's a big brother's duty to protect his little sister. Eli just cried, knowing she had the best brother in the world. Quick time skip, to the next day. Izuku was in the house gym with his father standing before him. Hisashi, alright, Izuku, today we'll see how good you are at hand-to-hand combat, and I'll be the one training you. Hisashi took a fighting stance, and Izuku mirrored him. Moments later, Izuku blurred into speed, standing in front of his father to deliver a punch to the face, which was blocked by Hisashi's forearm. But it didn't end there. Izuku landed on the ground and swiftly kicked Hisashi's right ribs, barely dodged by Hisashi as he stepped back. They paused, staring at each other intensely, Hisashi holding the arm he had blocked Izuku's punch with. Hisashi, what's going on? He disappeared suddenly, and I barely managed to block his punch on instinct alone. He might be better than All Might, he smiled with satisfaction and excitement. Well done, my son. You're truly remarkable. You'll be my weapon against All Might. But I must say, you still have flaws in your movements. It's normal, after all, you're just a kid. But I'll take care of that. Without warning, Hisashi appeared beside Izuku and aimed a punch at his cheek, which Izuku easily dodged, surprising his father with his reflexes. Hisashi continued to throw rapid punches at Izuku, who dodged them effortlessly, seeming to anticipate his father's moves. Izuku, his moves are so destructive. If he hits me, I feel like I'd just pass out, but it's strange. He's too slow. His muscles tense up, and the flow of his blood tells me when he's going to strike and where the punch is coming from. Izuku hadn't told anyone, but he could always see things like this. He had been using his transparent world since he could remember, which is why he didn't talk much. He wanted to understand what was happening. Izuku deflected one of his father's attacks to his left, entering his father's defense area to elbow him in the chin, causing Hisashi to fall back with a dazed look. While the blow wasn't too serious, it did hurt, and what surprised Hisashi the most was that his son had beaten him in hand-to-hand combat at just 4 years old. He was undoubtedly a prodigy. Hisashi, okay, Izuku, I see you know how to fight, and you're good at it. I can confidently say you surpass many adults in that aspect. From today, you'll train with 50 push-ups, 50 squats, and 50 sit-ups, as well as running 5 kilometers every day after you finish your school and homework. Don't disappoint me, son, he said, motioning for Izuku to start the exercises. I should get him a fencing instructor. Seeing how good Izuku is at fighting, he won't find it difficult to learn. After all, he's my masterpiece and my trump card. After that, Izuku continued with his daily life, going to school with his sister, and putting a stop to the bully, Katsuki Bakugo, who harassed his younger sister. Bakugo, an arrogant kid who thought he was superior to everyone because of his strong quirk that generated explosions from his palms, made the mistake of bothering and hitting Izuku's little sister along with his gang. Izuku saw Bakugo about to unleash an explosion on his sister. Elizabeth closed her eyes, bracing for the blast that never came. Izuku, holding Bakugo's wrist tightly, if there's one thing that really gets under my skin, it's bullies. But what really infuriates me is when someone lays a finger on my little sister. He gave Bakugo a deadly glare that made him tremble under Izuku's gaze. Bakugo, who the hell are you, you damn extra? Stepping back, clutching the wrist Izuku released. Elizabeth, big brother. Surprised and relieved by her brother's arrival. Izuku, if I catch you bothering my sister again, I'll break your arms in a way that you'll never use your quirk again. His voice serious but his face indifferent. Bakugo, you don't tell me what to do, damn extra. Attempting to punch Izuku. Izuku saw this and, with an indifferent expression, simply grabbed Bakugo's arm and twisted it, causing Bakugo's own explosion to hit his face. Izuku then delivered a punch to Bakugo's stomach while still holding his arm, twisting it until it seemed dislocated. Bakugo's friends watched in horror as he ended up in tears on the ground. Bakugo would only be lifted up and leave scared with his friends, especially angry to see that he had been humiliated by an extra who was supposed to be beneath him. Elizabeth, thank you, big brother. I was really scared. Almost on the verge of tears. Izuku just stroked his little sister's head and then gave her a small smile. Izuku, don't worry, I'll never let anything bad happen to you. While Izuku didn't like hitting people, he wouldn't let anyone hurt his sister or his mother, and he would become strong to protect them. Everyone at school knew Elizabeth didn't have a quirk, so they would tease and belittle her, but it didn't last long because whenever someone tried to bully her, Izuku would intervene, and those who dared to bother her didn't fare well. So, they stopped mistreating Eli at school, and thanks to Izuku, she could attend school without any hassle. And so, Izuku would be training for a whole month, noticing a small but noticeable change in his height and muscle mass. He was doing push-ups when his father entered the gym with a man carrying 2 wooden katanas, one smaller than the other. Hisashi, Izuku, this man here will train you with the sword since it would be good for you not to rely solely on your fists. Besides, you'll be more precise and dangerous. The man bowed to Izuku, and Izuku also bowed in respect with a calm and cold expression. My name is Tokura. Throwing the smaller sword to the ground in front of Izuku for him to pick up now, kid, show me what you can do. Adopting a battle stance. Izuku picked up the wooden katana only to disappear and reappear in front of the instructor. Izuku easily landed 3 blows on the man, one on the left cheek, another in the area between his right shoulder and his neck, and one on his waist. In addition, he delivered a direct hit to his ankle, causing him to fall to the ground completely motionless. Hisashi, upon seeing this, didn't know what to say. He was impressed, excited, and frightened by the potential his son was showing. Izuku let go of the sword, staring fixedly at the man on the ground. Hisashi, very well done, Izuku. You should have told me you had some knowledge about the sword. Izuku, what was that? I don't want to hit people like that. I never want to do that again, with a vacant expression as he watched the man being lifted by Hisashi. So, Izuku continued training in hand-to-hand combat, the art of the katana, and strengthening his body with his father's exercises, which increased every month. He was forced to continue with everything because if he didn't, his younger sister and his mother would suffer the consequences. Time skip, 3 months. Now we see Izuku surrounded by 4 men with wooden katanas, and Izuku was holding his katana as if nothing. The first man attacked, followed by the other 3. Izuku vanished and with a blow to the back of the first man's neck, rendered him unconscious. Then, he struck the second man's ankle cleanly with the katana, causing the man to fall and unable to get up. Then came the remaining 2, and in the blink of an eye, Izuku had delivered a blow to each of their legs and chests, knocking them unconscious. Hisashi, well done, son. Training for today is over. I want to talk to you about something. Indicating for Izuku to follow him out of the gym and walk through the garden. Izuku, since I can't teach you anything more, I've decided to send you abroad to an old friend of mine. There are people there who can help you improve your techniques and movements. I need you to keep growing and getting stronger. Since I've realized I can't teach you anything more and I'm only holding you back, I made the decision to send you abroad. After hearing the news from his dad, Izuku went to his room, but then someone knocked on his door. It was Eli. Eli, hi big brother, I came to see how you're doing, she said with a kind smile. Izuku, Eli, come in. I have something to tell you, he said with his usual face but a worried voice. After sitting on Izuku's bed, Eli was silent, so Izuku ended up telling her what his dad had said about sending him abroad. Eli, big brother, I don't want you to go, she said with a shaky voice and teary eyes. Izuku, don't worry, Eli. I promise I'll come back as soon as possible. I'll return before you're old enough to enter UA. Let's make a promise. Eli, a promise? Izuku, yes, promise me you'll work hard and achieve whatever you set your mind to. When I come back, we'll enter UA together to become the best heroes. Eli, oh okay, she said, feeling better. I'll work hard, big brother, wiping her tears and giving a smile. Izuku, it's a promise, then smiling. After that, Hisashi told Inko about sending Izuku abroad, and she strongly objected. But in the end, she couldn't do anything as Hisashi had already made the decision. Time skip, 1 week. Now we're at the airport where Izuku was waiting for his flight, and his family was there to say goodbye, except Hisashi, obviously. Inko, goodbye, my little one. Don't forget that I love you with all my heart, and I'll be here waiting for you to come back. Be a good boy and take care of yourself, giving him a hug and a kiss on the forehead. Elizabeth hugged her brother as if it were the last time, but she knew he would return because he would never let her down. Izuku hugged her back, and then a man in a fancy suit told Izuku it was time to board the plane. So Izuku left, but before getting on the plane, he turned around, gave a genuine smile, and said goodbye to his mother and sister. And thus, he boarded the plane. Time skip, 10 years now. We see a 14-year-old Elizabeth writing in what seemed to be her diary. Eli, it's been 10 years since he went abroad, and I'm 1 year away from graduating. Will he come back this year? I miss my brother so much. She looked out the window, seeing the moonlight entering. Eli had grown into a beauty, and despite not having a quirk, many men tried to approach her and flirt with her, even confessing their feelings, but she rejected them because they only had bad intentions. Eli, I want you to be here already, brother. On the other side of the world, a young black-haired boy with red streaks was training in a battle against the man who had cared for and trained him. Izuku, solar breath, first posture, waltz. Thus, he knocked down his opponent with a single strike from the flaming sword. Wow, Izuku, you've certainly become very strong. Who would have thought you'd surpass me so easily? Izuku, I wouldn't have done it without you, Sanjiro-san. Sanjiro, well, you're absolutely right. Ara, Izu-kun defeated you again, Sanjiro laughs. You're getting slow and senile. Sanjiro, look who's talking. Remember, we're the same age, so if you call me senile, you'll be senile too, Yuma. Yuma, huh? Just so you know, I'm a very well-preserved woman for my age. Weirdo sticks her tongue out at Sanjiro. Izuku just watched the two fight as usual, but then he started to think about how his little sister and mother were doing. Had his father changed? Yuma, right, Izu-kun, you're going back to Japan tomorrow, aren't you? Looks at Izuku. Sanjiro, well, that's right. After all, the time had to come. Izuku, thank you so much for everything you've done for me. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Giving a slight bow. Sanjiro, come on, you don't need to do that. Let's go eat, Izuku. You need energy for tomorrow. The next day arrived, and Izuku was about to board the plane when Yuma stopped him, giving him a tight hug. Yuma, what? Izu-kun, take care and don't forget to send mail, letters, and messages and. Sanjiro, take it easy, Yuma, don't suffocate him. Giving Izuku a hug, which he returned with a smile. Take care, Izuku. Izuku, you guys take care too. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I'll visit you when I can. Boarding the plane. In Japan. A plane was landing, and as people started to disembark, a black-haired red-streaked young man with a suitcase and a cell phone in hand could be seen, looking around as the airport was quite large. Izuku hailed a taxi to get home. Once he arrived and paid the taxi, he approached and knocked on the door. A green-haired woman in her 30s opened the door and stood still when she saw who was there. Izuku, hi, Mom, I'm back. With a relaxed smile. Inko, Izuku. Hugging him, come in, son. I'm glad you're back. With tears in her eyes. So Izuku entered the house and saw Elizabeth in the living room. When she saw him, she would stand up and stare at him, unable to believe what she was seeing. Izuku, I told you I'd come back, little sister. Eli, big brother. With tears, running to hug him, I missed you so much. Izuku, I'll never leave again. Returning the hug. So Izuku spent the night with his family, telling them everything that had happened and bonding with his mother and sister. Izuku asked about his father, but Inko told him that he had moved to another house to avoid conflicts between them. So everyone went to bed, as Izuku was tired from the journey. The next morning, Eli was getting ready for school as she was close to graduation. She asked Izuku to enroll even if classes were only for a few more months. So Izuku enrolled in high school. Thanks to the power of the -XD, Izuku was getting ready for school with his sister. He was just combing his hair to go out. Once everything was done, he went to school with his sister, catching up along the way. Eli, hey, brother. Getting Izuku's attention. Izuku, what's up, Eli? Eli, what new techniques did you learn? What's your quirk like now? And why are you so tall? Izuku is 1.80 meters tall, and Elizabeth is 1.65 meters tall. Izuku, that's a secret until we enter, UA said with a small smile. Eli, moo, you're so mean. Outing. So Eli spent the whole way with her brother, laughing and playing pranks on him that Izuku didn't understand. All of this was observed by an explosive blonde who was jealous and burning with anger a little further from the school entrance. Bakugo, who the hell is that damn extra? and what's he doing with the nerd? We can see Izuku and Eli in the school hallways in front of a door labeled 3A. Elizabeth entered first as requested by her teacher, while Izuku was told to wait and enter later. Teacher: Okay, kids, welcome to today's class. I hope you're doing well. Today, you'll have a new classmate, so be nice to them. Go ahead, kid. Izuku crossed the door and immediately caught the attention of the girls in the class because he was very attractive. The boys, on the other hand, would be jealous of his appearance, but only a few paled when they recognized who he was and realized they would be in trouble if they bothered his younger sister. Izuku: Hi, my name is Izuku Midoriya. I hope we get along. Just imagine him in high school uniform, obviously without the sword. Extra 1, did he just say Midoriya? Then he's Elizabeth Midoriya's brother? Whispering that their classmates heard. Teacher: Izuku, go sit next to Elizabeth. Izuku sat down, and the class began, proceeding with the day completely normal, with the girls looking at Izuku and talking to him, which he professionally ignored upon finding out they were bothering his sister. Several weeks passed, and everyone had stopped bothering Eli because her brother always emitted a killer instinct whenever they approached. After all, nobody at school wanted Eli there. Teacher: Well, here are the forms where you'll write what you want to do when you're adults. Who am I kidding? All of you want to be heroes throwing the papers in the air. Bakugo, please don't put me in the same category as all these extras. We all know only I can become a hero in this place. Extras: That's cruel, Bakugo/shut up, you're inconsiderate. Teacher: Bakugo, it says here you want to get into UA. Extra 1, UA? They say only 2% of students who apply pass the entrance exam scared. Bakugo, that's why you're all just a bunch of extras standing on his desk. Unlike everyone here, I passed the simulation exam, I'll get into UA, and my name will be listed as one of the richest heroes. Shouting. Teacher: True, the Midoriyas are also applying to UA looking at both their exams. Upon hearing this, Bakugo froze, turning to look at the siblings where Izuku remained unfazed by the stares, but Elizabeth had her head down and looked very nervous. While Izuku had shown himself to be somewhat strong, he had never revealed his quirk, nor did he give any indication of using it. Before anyone could laugh, Izuku emitted a strong pressure that affected everyone in the classroom except Eli, who kept her head down, causing everyone to fall silent except for an explosive blonde who approached both Midoriyas. Izuku: Doesn't this guy ever learn? Looking bored at Bakugo. Bakugo: How dare you try to go to UA? You're just a freak, pointing at Izuku, and you don't even have a quirk, pointing at Elizabeth, who just lowered her head further. You're just a burden, useless. Bakugo would fall silent and sit down after a slap to the face from Izuku's open palm. Izuku: Why don't you just shut up? I don't want you near my sister again, and don't you dare insult her again. Staring coldly at Bakugo: Get out of my sight. The teacher, seeing this, could only make Bakugo move away from Izuku since he was the one who started the fight in the first place. Teacher: Bakugo, go back to your seat now. Bakugo sat in silence, gritting his teeth. Everything went on peacefully, but Eli was affected by Bakugo's words. After all, she didn't have a quirk and would only make a fool of herself in the test. All these thoughts and more invaded her mind until Izuku spoke to her. Izuku: Don't pay attention to his words, don't let it affect you, little sister. Besides, you know I'm here for you no matter what you need. Saying to hug Eli, who responded with a few tears. Well, let's go to the mall to buy things for dinner. Eli: Okay, brother, with a small smile. So both siblings went to the mall, and to Izuku's dismay, he had to separate from his sister to look for the missing ingredients. Eli: Come on, brother, nothing bad will happen. Besides, it'll be faster if we search separately. Izuku: Okay, even though you know I hate it when you're alone, be careful, and call me if anything happens. Eli: I'm not a little kid anymore, Oni-chan with a small pout. Okay, let's go, said to separate. After a while, Izuku felt uneasy, not knowing why but having a bad feeling. With Elizabeth. Elizabeth had the things she bought and was walking under a bridge when suddenly she felt a chill and turned around to see what was happening. From the sewer, a mass of green slime was emerging, and it would smile at Elizabeth. Slime, well, a vessel that can go unnoticed by that guy's eyes. Jumping on Eli to catch her. Well, thank you very much, little one. I assure you, it will only hurt for about 40 seconds. Eli: What's happening? I can't breathe, I can't get free, it's completely liquid, Oni-chan, help me, please. Someone help me. Eli would be trying to free herself, but she couldn't because her hand slipped on contact. But then. Don't worry, you know why? Because I'm already here. Slime, how did he catch up with me? Damn, he's annoying. The slime would get startled and try to move with Eli held, but the sewer lid would be thrown, destroying part of its right side. In the blink of an eye, the stranger would appear in front of the villain. Texas Smash. Releasing a strong air pressure that would completely disperse the slime and free Eli, who was almost unconscious. Eli, what's happening? Seeing herself falling to the ground, but before touching it, an excessively muscular, blonde, tall man caught her and said some words she didn't understand. All Might? She said weakly before falling unconscious. Minutes later. All Might, patting Eli's cheek. Hey, wake up, young lady, are you okay? Eli, opening her eyes a little. Where am I? What happened? Seeing clearly. All Might. All Might, I'm glad you're okay, young lady. You had me worried. Eli, and the villain? Did he escape? She asked with some panic. All Might, don't worry, young one, here he is, he said, showing a couple of bottles where the villain was trapped. Eli, oh, I almost forgot, my notebook, an autograph, I have to get an autograph. Searching in her backpack. Ah, he already signed it. Seeing All Might's autograph. Thank you very much, this'll be a family heirloom. All Might, waving goodbye and putting the villain in his pocket. Well, now that you're okay, I can leave. But before he could leave, he stopped at Elizabeth's cry for him to wait. All Might, what's the matter, young lady? I'm in a bit of a hurry, and I need to hand the villain over to the police. Eli, well, I wanted to know. Come on, Elizabeth, just ask him, he's right here in front of you. She took a deep breath. Can I be a hero like you, even without a quirk? With closed eyes. All Might, without a quirk? Turning to face her directly. Well, young lady, without a quirk, you can't be a hero, he said somewhat seriously. Heroes risk their lives at all times to save people. It's not like I can tell you that you can become a hero without a quirk. If you want to save people, you can become a police officer or a firefighter. I'm sorry if that's not the answer you wanted to hear. Eli, she was in shock, with a blank look. Oh, okay, sorry for taking up your valuable time. All Might, thank you for answering. All Might, forgive me, little girl, this is for the best for you. Well, now I'm leaving. Take care, young lady. I'll continue to count on your support to take a big leap and disappear into the sky. Eli, why do I feel bad when I already knew the answer? Don't be silly, Eli. So Eli would start walking without realizing she was approaching a place where people were crowding the street because a villain was attacking. Eli, what? I ended up here without realizing it. Well, never mind, I'm going home. But she would start walking towards the crowd to see what was happening. What are you doing, Eli? You'll only hurt yourself more if you keep this up. Upon reaching the crowd, Eli would see that the villain attacking was the same one who attacked her under the bridge. Eli, what's going on? All Might was supposed to take him to the police. Excuse me, what's happening? She asked some people next to her. Person 1, that slime villain trapped a high school student, and the heroes haven't been able to do anything because they don't want to harm the young man, and it's been like this for several minutes. Eli, several minutes? I fainted in just a few seconds, she thought, scared by whoever was there. Person 2, the heroes can't approach because of the explosions and fire the young man is causing while trying to escape. This immediately caught Eli's attention. Eli, explosions? Then it's managing to get a better look at the young man struggling to free himself. Bakugo? She would say quietly, staring intently at the young man fighting to escape. On the other side of the crowd would be a blonde, skinny, and haggard-looking man holding his stomach side and watching everything with impotence. How pathetic, I'm pathetic. If I had made sure to secure the villain properly, this wouldn't be happening. Damn, my time is up, and I can't do anything. Forgive me, young lady, just hold on a little longer, please. In a place near the commotion caused by the villain, there was a pensive red-haired brunette. Izuku, he's taking too long, where could he be? I better go look for her, he said, moving with Elizabeth. Eli, it's Bakugo, so why isn't anyone doing anything? Seeing Bakugo had a look not of arrogance but of fear, concern, and pleading for help. Then a memory came to Eli. Flashback. Izuku, listen to these words, Eli. Don't lose, don't hesitate, if you're overwhelmed by your weaknesses and fears, ignite your heart and keep moving forward, only you forge your destiny. End of flashback. Without realizing it, Elizabeth found herself running quickly towards Bakugo. Death arms, what are you doing, girl, come back here, you can't pass. Kamui Woods, damn, I can't get close because of the fire. He tried to catch Eli but failed. Eli, what am I doing? I started running without realizing it, and my body isn't responding to me, getting closer and closer to the villain. Bakugo, DEKU? The explosive blonde would say in his mind. Slime, it's you. The brat I tried to catch under the bridge, now you die. The slime threw a punch, but Eli threw her backpack, hitting the monster directly in the eye and causing it to release Bakugo from its mouth so he could breathe. Bakugo, coughing, what the hell are you doing here, nerd? Eli, shut up, idiot, I'm trying to get you out of here, what else would I be doing? Desperately trying to move the slime off Bakugo. Question mark, pathetic Bakugo would only be covered from the mouth again, and the slime villain would be about to hit Eli, but Eli only closed her eyes, but the blow never came. Eli opened her eyes to see why the villain had stopped his attack, or rather, why they had stopped his attack. Question mark, I truly am pathetic. Don't worry. Young lady, everything is okay now, thanks to you. Eli, is that All Might? All Might, I'm really sorry, I didn't follow through with the words I told you, young lady. Taking Eli and Bakugo's arm to prepare a powerful hit. A hero always risks their life to save people. Spitting out a lot of blood as he speaks. Detroit. Baba, oh no. All Might, smash. With this hit, All Might caused a strong air pressure that blew the villain to pieces, forming a whirlwind and causing clouds to form and rain to start. All Might turned to see Eli, who was unconscious. All Might, she's the one. Everyone would be silent at such an event. Person 1, wow, seriously? Did he change the weather with just one hit? Totally excited. Person 2, as expected of All Might, he's the best. These were the words of the excited people who ran in masses to surround All Might and ask him several questions. Death Arms, what you did earlier was very wrong, we had it under control and you didn't need to throw yourself into danger like that. Totally angry and scolding and kneeling Eli for her actions. But in the end, no one got hurt, so we'll let it slide this time. After managing to break free from the crowd surrounding All Might, Eli began to make her way back home, but a blonde explosive guy shouted to get her attention. Bakugo, nerd. I didn't ask for your help, I didn't need it, and don't think I'm going to thank you, you're just a nuisance in my way, got it? Eli, I know, Bakugo, but I did it because it was the right thing to do. Giving a smile. Upon hearing this, Bakugo could only blush and turn away to leave. Eli saw this but didn't pay it any mind since she would never be in a relationship with a guy like him. As she continued on her way, someone suddenly appeared in front of her out of nowhere. All Might, I'm here. Coming out of an alleyway. Eli, All Might? But how? What are you doing here? Weren't you surrounded by reporters just a moment ago? Looking around. All Might, ha ha ha, escaping from reporters is too easy, why? Because I'm All Mig Puag HH. Trying to strike a pose but ending up coughing up blood. Eli, wow? All Might, is that you? Huh? An imposter. All Might, I am All Might, young lady, and what you just saw is because of a wound that a villain caused me a while ago, causing me to lose half of my stomach. Lifting his shirt and showing a terrible wound. But that's for another time. Young lady, I came to thank you, to correct, and also to suggest. If you hadn't been there, I would have just been a talker in a suit. Thank you. Eli, don't say that, All Might, I was just a hindrance, and in the end, nothing I did helped. I caused so many problems trying to do something despite not having a quirk. Said with her head down and trembling. All Might, that's right, thanks to that shy girl without a quirk. I was able to act. Eli, upon hearing these words, would only look at All Might with shiny eyes. All Might, all the great heroes have stories about their school days. And most of their stories have something in common. Their bodies moved before they had the chance to think. Eli, upon hearing what All Might said, would look down with tears in her eyes. Eli, for some reason, I couldn't help but remember my brother's words, you won't be like him, you'll be better. Eli started to shed tears as she tightly held the place where her heart was and began to kneel down to cry. All Might, is that what happened to you, right? Eli, crying. Why yes. While closing her eyes and tears falling inevitably. All Might, you can become a hero. Eli could only cry harder as if a huge weight had been lifted from her shoulders. All Might, you will inherit my power and become my successor. Eli, huh? With small tears in her eyes. What do you mean by inheriting your power and being your successor, All Might? All Might, My power is a special power that is cultivated from generation to generation. It is a sacred torch entrusted to me and now you will inherit it. The name of this power is One for All. Creating a multicolored sphere in the palm of his hand. Eli, One for All? All Might, that's right, and I believe you're worthy of inheriting my power. Now, are you willing to accept this power? Eli would think for a few seconds. I see no reason to refuse. I can become the hero I've always wanted to be, wiping away the tears to show a determined look. I will. All Might, very well, your training will begin tomorrow, and when you are a suitable vessel for Opha, I will pass it on to you. Eli, what do you mean by being a suitable vessel, All Might? All Might, ah ha ha ha, of course, I forgot to mention that if you receive Opha without having a prepared physique, you could explode into pieces. Making Eli pale at such information. Eli, okay. All Might, okay, then starting tomorrow, we'll meet at the beach full of garbage to begin training. Eli, all right, All Might. But at that moment, Elizabeth would see danger approaching just behind All Might, a red-haired guy, red eyes glowing in fury, and a crimson-bladed sword in the person's hand. Her older brother Izuku. Elizabeth, upon seeing him, could only watch as Izuku was about to strike down the emaciated All Might, but she would push him so that Izuku, upon failing the strike, a gust of wind caused by the swing of the sword would raise quite a bit of dust. Izuku would stand in front of Eli protectively, pointing his katana at All Might's neck. Izuku, relax, little sister, I'm here now, don't worry. Looking coldly at All Might, implying that he wouldn't hesitate to kill him at the slightest movement. Eli, Izuku, what are you doing? Scared that her brother might do something foolish. Izuku, huh? Well, I'm preventing this drugged-up man from doing anything bad to you. Looking confused at Eli while still holding his sword at All Might's neck. Eli, but he saved me a few moments ago, some bad guys wanted to harm me, and he rescued me from those men. Izuku would hesitate for a moment, but in the end, he would sheath his sword and help All Might to his feet. Izuku, sorry for attacking you without warning, sir. Making a small bow. May I know your name? Toshinori, you may call me Toshinori, young man. Bowing in introduction. Izuku, thank you for saving my sister, Mr. Toshinori. Eli, well, Izuku, we can go home now, thank you very much, Mr. Toshinori. Bowing. Toshinori, you're welcome, young lady, take care on your way home. So both siblings would retreat to their home, and Eli would show Izuku All Might's autograph. Izuku, amused. Time skip, 3 months 7 months left until the UA exam. Izuku had noticed that Eli would leave early every day and return somewhat late, and he also noticed a slight change in her physique due to exercise. Izuku decided to follow her and see that she went to a beach where she met a tall, muscular, blonde man who seemed to be training her and making her clean the beach. So Izuku, thinking he was a bully, attacked him and ended up giving him a few punches, but Eli explained that he was All Might and that he was training her, and inevitably they told him about Opha and how Eli was going to be the next to possess it. Izuku hesitated but eventually accepted that Eli would train and receive that power. Izuku announced that he would leave home for a while to train his power and skills as he wanted to surprise his sister, and he wouldn't reveal anything until they were at UA. Time skip, 7 months. All Might, well, young Midoriya, you have proven yourself worthy of Opha, and now I will give you what you have earned. This is the result of your hard training and great effort. Taking out a hair and giving it to Eli. Cure. Eli, huh? #_. Izuku, disgusting. Tossing a camera with a bored face since he expected something more exciting. I was hoping to capture this moment but never mind. So after Eli forcibly ate All Might's hair, which had to be stopped by Izuku and All Might, the Midoriyas went home to get ready because that was the day of the UA entrance exam. We can see the siblings in front of UA. Izuku, the time has come. Are you ready? Looking at his sister. Eli, better than ever, brother. Let's go. So they entered UA Academy. Both Midoriyas were entering the academy, immediately catching the attention of all the students taking the exam. And it wasn't surprising, as both stood out. Izuku, what's wrong with them? He'd say, not caring much and continuing on his way. Eli, everyone's staring at us. Feeling somewhat nervous. So, they both entered the room where they would take the written exam, which they finished in 30 minutes. Then they handed it in and moved to the room where they would be briefed on the practical exam. So, they both entered the room where they would take the written exam, finishing it in 30 minutes before moving on to the room where they would be briefed on the practical exam. Present mic, welcome, everyone. Let me hear a yea-ah. Shouting alone, with no one paying him any attention. Such a bunch of sourpusses. Well, today's test will involve destroying robots hidden in the artificial cities of the Academy. There will be robots worth 1, 2, and 3 points. Showing 4 types of robots on a screen. Of course, attacking other participants is prohibited. He couldn't finish as a blue-haired student with glasses raised their hand, interrupting the hero. Excuse me, sensei. You said there are 3 types of robots worth 1, 2, and 3 points, but the brochure we were given shows 4 robots. If this is a mistake from UA, they should be embarrassed. Present Mike, participant number 7111. I was just about to mention the 4th robot, so don't rush. Sorry for the interruption. Please continue with the explanation. Bowing and sitting down. Present Mike, as I was saying, the 4th robot doesn't matter since it's worth 0 points. I recommend you avoid it if you come across it. Alright, with that said, go to your assigned fields. So, Izuku and Eli went to their respective areas, as they happened to be assigned to the same one by sheer luck. Or because that's how it was planned. The students were waiting in front of a large door labeled Area D. Izuku was calm, gripping the handle of his katana, which he was allowed to bring to the test. Eli tried to calm her nerves by breathing in a special way her brother had taught her. Izuku, Eli. Getting his sister's attention. Eli, what's up, Ani-chan? Izuku, when the doors open, run. And good luck. Break a leg. Confusing his sister with his words. So, the doors opened, and Izuku disappeared in a blur, making the other participants look at him strangely. Present Mike, what are you waiting for? There's no countdown in a battle. That kid's gonna snatch up all the points. Then all the participants reacted and started running, only finding robots worth 1 and 2 points, some split in half with clean cuts, others with parts smashed as if punched. As they continued, they encountered a red-haired student standing atop a huge pile of 2 and 3 point robots. Everyone was surprised and terrified by the sight and began running in different directions to find a robot. Eli, on her part, would only look for robots to hopefully score some points. It'll be almost the same as with Ken and Izuku, just changing a few things. Izuku, I thought they'd be stronger, but it seems not. I think the points I have are enough for now. I'll go help those who are struggling. Disappearing from the spot. In a room with TVs showing all the participants, there seemed to be UA teachers. It seems this year's generation is very promising, don't you think? A woman with a good figure and a somewhat revealing outfit would say. All the students are performing well. Villains are hidden in the city, and heroes must flush them out of their hiding spots to capture them. Great perception, ability to move quickly, adaptability to each situation, and pure combat skills. Those are the qualities we seek in a hero. Is there anyone who catches your eye? A rodent? Would say. The kid with engines in his legs is good. The young explosion user. The man who appeared to be made of cement would say. The sword kid is good, and he's helping other participants. Plus, I haven't seen any signs of him using his quirk. Drawing attention from everyone in the room, a vagabond would say. Can he really afford to help others? Aizawa, how many points does the kid have? The woman in the provocative outfit would say. Aizawa would check how many points the kid had and was surprised by the amount. Aizawa, this kid has 345 points. He'd say, leaving everyone impressed. What do you think, Director Nezu? Nezu, the kid seems very promising, almost surpassing the record set by All Might. But, taking out a remote with a red button. Now we'll see the true qualities of the young participants. He'd say, pressing the button. Eli, this can't be, I haven't scored any points, and All Might didn't tell me how to activate OFA, just something about clenching my buttocks and I don't know what else. Eli would be moving until the ground began to shake, and all the participants started running from something. Extra, that thing is giant, how did they expect us to face that robot? Running past Eli. Eli could see a huge robot the size of a building or even bigger peeking its head out and hitting the ground hard, causing debris to fall everywhere. Izuku, who was watching this from a little further away, decided to approach to see what was happening. Eli was about to run, but then she heard a whimper and turned her gaze to see a girl stuck under debris, unable to free her foot. Eli immediately ran towards the girl, then jumped up to the robot's head and delivered a strong blow to its face, causing the robot to shatter and begin falling backward, exploding. Everyone would be left in awe, not knowing what happened, but they saw Eli falling without any signs of doing something. Eli was falling with no plan to land properly because she realized she had both legs and an arm broken. This was the consequence of being a vessel made hastily and without time to adapt to OFA. Just when she thought she was lost, she closed her eyes and then felt someone carrying her princess style. Her brother had jumped up in the air to catch her. Izuku, when I said break a leg, I meant have fun, I didn't know you'd take it so literally. Looking at his sister with a small smile. After they landed, an old lady approached asking about any injuries, so Izuku left his sister in front of the old lady. RG, rescue Granny, you hurt yourself a lot with your own quirk, little one. I see you don't control it very well at all. Stretching her lips to give Eli a kiss. Eli would be surprised to feel her body healing rapidly, but afterward, a wave of tiredness would overwhelm her. After that, and after RG gave her a candy, the girl Eli saved would approach to thank her. Eli would simply say it wasn't necessary, after all, that's what a hero would do. Izuku would just lift Eli and carry her home, where their mother was waiting with dinner ready. A week had passed since Izuku and Eli took the admission exam, and they had been at home waiting for the results. Today, they were alone because their mother was at work. Izuku was setting the table for breakfast, while Eli sat by the table looking very thoughtful. Izuku, if I'm not mistaken, the results will arrive today or tomorrow. Eli, nervous and somewhat scared, but I didn't score any points. And the robot I took down was worthless, I'm sure I failed. Lowering her gaze disheartened. Izuku, calm down, I'm sure you'll pass. And if not, there's always a plan B. You could attend Shiketsu, and I'll go with you. With that, Eli felt a bit better, and they both started to have breakfast. After finishing breakfast and washing the dishes, the doorbell rang. The mailman had arrived, delivering the mail. Mailman, delivery for Izuku Midoriya and Elizabeth Midoriya. Knocking on the door. Izuku opened the door, signed a paper, then collected the package and closed the door. Izuku, well, let's see what it is. Opening the box and taking out 2 envelopes. This one's for you, sister. Handing the envelope with her name to Eli. Izuku, let's open yours first. Sitting on the living room couch. Eli, somewhat nervous. Oh okay. Sitting next to her brother and opening the envelope, revealing a projector. I'm here in hologram form. Leaving the siblings surprised and speechless as they didn't know All Might was a UA teacher. I had a lot of paperwork and couldn't announce that I was a UA teacher. I'm sorry. Someone would catch the hero's attention, huh? Do I need to get to the point? But there's something I must address. Alright then. Looking back at the screen. All Might, well, Miss Midoriya, although you passed the written exam, you didn't score any points in the practical exam, which means you didn't pass. Upon this, Eli lowered her head, but Izuku remained unfazed, or so I would assume if that were the case. Eli looked back at the screen confused. First, look at the television. Turning on a TV to show the girl she had saved from being crushed in the exam. On the screen, Eli, that's the girl I saved in the exam. Surprised. Question mark, excuse me, All Might, this young lady came to negotiate in person after the exam. Why? Let's keep watching. Question mark, the girl with green hair, with freckles. Is it possible for me to give her some of my points? I heard her say she didn't have any points, and she saved my life. And she couldn't get points for saving me. Question mark, please. Present Mike, even if you ask us, we can't give your points to her, young lady. Though there's no reason to give them to you, young listener. Patting her head. All Might, although there was also another person who wanted to offer their points. Eli, another person? Even more confused. On the screen would show the director Nezu's office with Izuku in front of him. Eli, brother? Looking at Izuku. Izuku, I think I could have been less aggressive. In the video. Nezu, to what do I owe your visit, young man? Izuku, I've come to give all my points to Elizabeth Midoriya. Serious and looking Nezu in the eyes. Nezu, excuse me, young man, but giving points to another person is something that cannot be done. Izuku, oh, not yet, but it will be possible. Approaching Nezu, unsheathing a katana. Nezu, young man? What are you doing? Don't come closer. Eh? No. Security. The video would then cut. All Might. Eli. Izuku. All Might, well, back to it. In the hero course, rejecting people who save others and do the right thing? That would be foolish. That's why. Rescue points, which are given by a panel of judges. The qualities we look for in UA students. Elizabeth Midoriya, 60 rescue points. Uraka Ochako, 45 points. Both pass. Eli, this is insane. With a broken voice and tears welling in her eyes. All Might, come here, Elizabeth Midoriya. This is your hero academy. This is your hero academy. The projector would then turn off, and Eli would see Izuku holding their UA uniforms. Izuku, congratulations, sister. With a small smile. Eli, thanks, Oni-chan. Crying and giving him a big hug. The first day of classes had arrived, and Izuku was trying to wake up his sister. Izuku, Eli, get up, take a shower, change, and have breakfast so we can go to UA. Opening the curtains in her room. Eli, with closed eyes, half asleep. I don't want to get up, just 5 more minutes. But then she would open her eyes feeling a strong pressure and see her brother holding her blankets. Izuku, I said get up now. With a look that promised nothing good if she didn't obey. So Eli quickly got up and went to the bathroom to shower. 1 hour later. The Midoriya stood in front of UA. Izuku, alright, let's go, sister. Advancing. Eli, I'm right behind you, Oni-chan. Walking alongside her brother. Izuku, our classroom is 1A. Shortly after, they found themselves in front of a large door that said 1A. Eli, isn't it a bit too big? Looking at the huge door. Izuku, it must be for people with quirks that make them bigger. Also looking at the door. Question mark, oh, it's you, the girl from the test and the boy with the mark. I'm glad you passed too, last time I couldn't introduce myself. Nice to meet you, my name is Uraka Ochako. Making a small bow. Eli, hello, it's nice to meet you too. My name is Elizabeth Midoriya. Returning the gesture. Izuku Midoriya. Said curtly as he bowed slightly. Uraka, I see we'll be in the same class, I hope we get along well. With a big smile. So the 3 young ones would open the door, encountering a somewhat strange scene. Question mark, you should take your feet off the desk, don't you see it's disrespectful? Said a blue-haired person with glasses. Question mark, huh? Who the hell are you, damn extra? What academy are you from? Said an explosive blonde. Izuku, well, looking uninterested at the 2 boys. Eli, oh no, it can't be, thinking as she looked at the blonde. Question mark, my name is Tenya Ida, and I come from Same Academy. Standing up straight and adjusting his glasses. Note, I put Ida, but Ida with the first I capitalized, so it's clear it's not Lida. Question mark, Same? So you're an elite bastard? I'll enjoy crushing you. Ida, crushing you? Are you sure you want to be a hero? The blonde would turn to look at the door and blush a bit, but then he would see someone behind Eli, causing him to quickly avert his gaze. Both siblings, entering alongside Uraka, saw their future classmates. They noticed a girl with pink skin and horns, and beside her, a group composed of a redhead with shark-like teeth, a blonde with a black lightning bolt-shaped strand, a grape-headed dwarf, and a guy with a tail. Elizabeth sat next to a purple-haired girl, while Izuku sat across from a heterochromatic bicolor. Eli, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Elizabeth Midoriya. I hope we get along well. Smiling at the purple-haired girl next to her. Question mark, hi, nice to meet you too. I'm Kyoka Jiru. Thus, Eli started a conversation with Jiru, discovering her love for music and instruments. Meanwhile, Izuku remained seated, serious, feeling the bicolor's gaze behind him. Shortly after, a giant caterpillar opened the door. Question mark, pleasure to meet you all. I'll be your teacher during your time here. My name is Shota Aizawa. He would say, emerging from his sleeping bag and donning a sports uniform. I know it's sudden, but put this on and head to the facilities field. Minutes later, all the students were in the Gamma field with Aizawa in front of them. Aizawa, today, we'll be conducting physical tests with your quirks. Uraka, wait, no welcome ceremony? Or a tour of UA? The brunette asked, confused. Aizawa, UA doesn't have time for traditions like that. In just 3 years, we must prepare you to be great heroes. He said lazily. Bakugo steps forward and throws this ball. What was the distance you achieved in middle school? Bakugo, 67 meters. Aizawa, stand inside the circle and throw the ball with your quirk without stepping out. He said, tossing the ball to him. Bakugo, preparing to throw. Boom! Bakugo threw the ball from his palm with a huge explosion, making it soar high into the sky and disappear. Aizawa, showing a tablet displaying 705 meters. Everyone, wow! !boom? So, we can use our quirks? This will be fun. Aizawa, fun, huh? How about this? If you're the last in the test, you'll be expelled. With a terrifying smile. Everyone was shocked and scared by this revelation. Everyone was shocked and scared by this revelation. Everyone was shocked and scared by this revelation. Aizawa, welcome to UA's hero course, brats. Move forward, plus ultra. And so, everyone began the speed test. And so, all the tests went on, with Izuku keeping a low profile to not stand out too much. Or simply because he found the situation boring. Speed test. 1. Tenya Ida. 2. Izuku Midoriya. 3. Katsuki Bakugo. 4. Shoto Todoroki. Strength test. 1. Izuku Midoriya. 2. Mezzo Shoji. 3. Sato Rikido. 4. Eijiro Kirishima. Lateral steps test. 1. Minoru Mineta. 2. Katsuki Bakugo. 3. Izuku Midoriya. 4. Elizabeth Midoriya. Elizabeth is very agile due to her physique and training with All Might, and Izuku All Might watched Aizawa's class from afar. Ball test. Aizawa, alright, Midoriya. Step forward. Izuku, which one of you, sensei? With his typical calm expression. Aizawa, Elizabeth Midoriya. Eli stepped forward, nerves evident as she became the center of attention. Eli was in the circle with the ball, but when she threw it, she couldn't activate her quirk. Score, 45 meters. Eli, huh? I'm sure I activated it. Looking at her hands, then at Aizawa sensei with glowing red eyes. Aizawa, pulling Eli with his tape and facing her. What you were about to do was stupid. I know you break your limbs with your quirk, but what will you do in a real battle after breaking your arms? You'll only save one person and then be out, causing your teammates to carry you just because you were reckless. Elizabeth Midoriya, with your gift, you can't become a hero. Releasing Eli and deactivating her quirk. I've returned your quirk, do what you want. Uraka, what did Aizawa sensei say to her? Bakugo, he probably told her she's not cut out to be a hero. It was expected, after all, she doesn't even have a quirk. Ida, what? She doesn't have a quirk? Didn't you know about the practical exam? Aizawa, we'll see if what I told her helps at all. It doesn't matter what she does after all, she has no potential. Elizabeth would be in the circle with her gaze lowered, murmuring something, but then her brother would catch her attention. Izuku, calm down, Eli. You can do it, you just need to trust yourself more. He shouted, causing everyone to look at him and start cheering for Eli. Eli, thanks, brother. Looking at Izuku and nodding. Eli, Aizawa sensei is right. I can't go on like this. At this rate, I'll only be a burden and cause trouble. It's true I can't control one for all yet, but I must work harder than anyone else to measure up. Getting ready and throwing the ball, concentrating one for all on her index finger. That's why I'll give it my all with everything I can do today. Smash! Eli released the ball, which shot off at high speed, breaking the air around it, surprising everyone. Score, 706 meters. Aizawa would be watching the result, and Eli would get his attention. Eli, Aizawa sensei. Squeezing her hand into a fist, her index finger visibly broken. I can still move. Aizawa, this kid. With a big smile. All Might, what the heck, young lady. You're amazing. After that, Aizawa called Izuku and made him step forward. Everyone would be attentive because Izuku hadn't shown any signs of using his quirk, and they thought it was some kind of enhancement type. Aizawa, the rules are the same. You can do whatever you want as long as you don't step out of the circle. And don't hold back this time. I've been watching you, and you haven't put in the slightest effort in any test. Everyone here gives their all. If you don't, I'll expel you. Talking very seriously to Izuku, who would only nod, bored. Everyone would be stunned because Izuku had been at the top the whole time without exerting himself. Izuku would just be in the center of the circle with the ball in his right hand. Izuku, alright, I don't see the need to use all my power, but I'll make a small effort, he would say, preparing to throw the ball. Izuku, alright, I don't see the need to use all my power, but I'll make a small effort. He said, preparing to throw the ball. Izuku caused a little wind after his throw, surprising everyone. Score, 1 kilometer. Everyone would be in shock because that was the highest score in the throw. Izuku, are you satisfied, sensei? Looking Aizawa in the eyes. Aizawa, where did this kid come from? Well done, Midoriya. Nodding. Alright, here are your results. Showing the table that everyone saw. 1. Izuku Midoriya. 2. Shoto Todoroki. 3. Tenya Ida. 4. Katsuki Bakugo. 5. Momo Yaoyorozu. 16. Elizabeth Midoriya. 20. Toru Hagakure. Toru, this can't be. I'm the last, so I'll be expelled. Falling to her knees, or so it seemed. Aizawa, by the way, the expulsion thing was a joke to get everyone to do their best, so you can head back to the classroom. Now we can see Izuku and Eli walking out. Eli, what a tiring day. I really thought I was going to be expelled. Weren't you nervous, big brother? Looking at Izuku, who was wearing his typical serious expression. Izuku, oh yes, I was super nervous. Equally serious and sounding bored. Eli, oh, come on, big brother. You're lying. With a cute pout. You're terrible at showing your emotions, big brother. But don't worry, I'll help you with that. But then someone would catch the attention of both young ones, and Eli would turn to see that it was Uraka accompanied by Ida. Uraka, wait. Can we join you? Shouting from afar and running alongside Ida. Izuku, keep walking, Eli. Without looking back and continuing his way. Uraka, hey, don't leave us behind. Running faster. Eli, big brother, it's rude what you're doing. Plus, she's running for us. Looking at her brother. Izuku, you'll apologize on your deathbed. Boredly said and still walking. After they caught up, Eli would apologize for making them run, but they wouldn't mind, and the four of them would walk together, talking about different topics. Well, Izuku was quiet, but he was still next to the three teenagers. Eli was happy because, for the first time in years, she had friends to be with and talk to.